And here we are, the last of the Odyssey board games and the last in the regular series of board/games. We've covered military strategy and economic pursuits. Now it's on to fantasy adventure as we embark on a quest for the rings. Other than the titular trial, this game has remarkably little to do with the Lord of the Rings legends and more along the lines of a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. It's the simplest out of the three to set up and understand, but in my opinion and that of fellow player infamous GM1, it's been the most enjoyable out of the bunch, so I'm glad it ended up being left for last. The game is most well suited for 3 players. A ringmaster, obviously a stand-in for a D&D dungeon master, and 2 players. The ringmaster sets up the board, placing brass tokens symbolizing the rings you'll be hunting for, along with 2 other tokens that represent unique encounters that we'll get to shortly. These rather striking coins are dispersed under plastic caps that represent castles strewn about the map of the land you'll be exploring. Typically, if you don't have a third player, one adventurer can handle those duties while the other player guides the direction of travel. Though, if you've got a bad enough memory, or in our case, if you shuffle the castles, it might not matter. Next, each player chooses from one of 4 adventurer classes. The warrior can attack enemies with a sword, though only to the side. The wizard can cast spells that tend to stun enemies and can eliminate the dragon's fireballs. The phantom can pass through walls using this ability to draw attention to the player. And finally there's the chameleon, who's able to turn invisible at the expense of movement speed. Once you've chosen your classes, it's time to set out on the journey, starting from one of the ship icons around the edge of the continent. Moving to each castle location takes 1 turn for travel, and in a 2-player game you get 50 turns to try to hunt through every castle to find the 10 hidden rings. Whether there's a ring or not, each castle must be explored when you encounter one. These exploration sessions are where the Odyssey system comes into play. When you approach a castle, you pick up the plastic to see if there are any coins beneath, to determine if there's a ring present and if you have to encounter a special monster. There will also be an icon printed inside the cap to select the arena type: the dungeon, crystal caverns, the infernos, or the shifting halls. Within, you'll usually find orcs or fire sprites, but you'll also occasionally bump into a super fast and powerful dragon, or the collection of horrors known as the Nightmare. Once the circumstances of your encounter are discovered, you enter them using the overlay on the Odyssey's keyboard, then begin the hunt. If there's no ring in the castle, your goal is simply to survive to the exit arrow and move on. If there is a ring on site, it must be collected to achieve victory, and collecting a ring gives you a free movement turn to get to the next castle. Only 1 party member needs to touch the goal, a rare example of an early cooperative video game. Obviously, the game is over if you either run out of turns or collect all 10 rings successfully. When we played, Infamous and I chose to play as a warrior and a chameleon respectively, and that proved to be a great combination. There were some times where it was just best for him to distract the enemies while I crept past them to snag the ring. It only took us about an hour from opening the box to declare victory. No!
Did it blind. Good job.
Woot! Well, I guess that's our, let's see here. How did they put it?
Fanfare.
The fanfare, yeah. Cool, wow, we actually managed to finish this one. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the series as well. Similar to the OS treats that came before, I don't think I have enough games on hand to do another full season of board games, but I may do a few more here and there as the opportunity arises. I'll be taking April off as usual to rest and prepare for next season, but Season 6 will be a completely different shift for the channel. I still think it'll be quite an interesting one for classic gamers though, especially for fans of the original PlayStation. Have you had the opportunity to play this title? Are there any video game-inspired board games you've been enjoying? Let me know in the comments below or on Twitter at TesseractUnfold. Meanwhile, please like, subscribe, spread the word, and I'll see you again next season.